Good afternoon, everybody. Here we are again. My name is Catherine Ross, and I head up the sales and marketing teams and support team here in Dynamics Consultants. I've probably spoken to lots of you at one time or another. So another warm welcome to our third Dynamic Changes event. The last one in February was extremely well received and we had some great feedback, so thank you for that. Today, as usual, we'll be mixing between live and pre-recorded videos to make sure we've got no issues with connectivity. There is a comments box all the way through, so please feel free to put any questions or comments you have in the chat box. We will be monitoring these and take time to answer the questions at the end of each session. We have a full agenda to gain today, showing you what's new in Business Central version 18, which came out in April, some hints and tips, and an overview to some additional products, and a thought-provoking session on succession planning. That's easy to say now without a gin and tonic. So to start, we have our sponsors for today's events, Sana Commerce. Welcome to Alex Jennings, and thank you very much for lunch. We will be sending out the vouchers to you after the event for those of you who are attending live. Today, Sana are taking us through how to improve the customer buying experience. And as I mentioned, please add any questions into the chat box and we'll answer them at the end of the segment. So over to you, Alex.
Thank you for the introduction there, Catherine. My name is Alex, as mentioned, and I'm from Sana, and I'm going to take you through our presentation today about improving customer buying experience and streamlining order processing. So our agenda today looks like this. So I'm going to take you through a little bit about why Sana, integration benefits as well, and how we integrate to your existing suite, how leveraging the existing data that you already have is really key. We're going to be going through the features around personalization and processes and the takeaways from the session as well. So many of our customers have complex requirements, especially in the B2B space. They might have niche products or complex products that has always been a struggle and for them to get online with those types of businesses. And e-commerce has always been a challenge for them in that regard. The businesses have been built around referrals and recommendations rather than marketing in the past. And the transition towards B2B e-commerce has been quite a struggle. So we help businesses who have these complex requirements to help them get online. And the key part of all of this is trying to make your online business as successful as your offline business. And that's where we can come in and help. But like I said, these things are a challenge, and a lot of the time when we come across customers, they'll generally be on their sort of first or second generation web store. They have maybe a customized solution in-house or a mainstream solution from the market. And they've basically made compromises within the business around sort of B2C and B2B functionality just to get a solution in place. And then over the years, when they become a bit more mature within their e-commerce journey, then they come across Sana because the way we integrate really helps them improve their processes. So a typical interface solution, which is out on the market, will basically have API connectors around customer information, pricing information, stock information from Dynamics or Business Central, whatever it might be, and they basically have to be maintained to pull out the relevant information. Okay, so two different systems. You have to rebuild the data to power the web store, which can cause issues. And these are silos. So basically, they're built independently, and the e-commerce solution can run standalone. And not all the data from one system is available in the other. Not the functionality isn't there either. It needs to be synchronized, and those changes have to be made twice, which can cause business issues. And really, that's where Sana can come in. And that's how we can help you make your e-commerce and your ERP solution work as one. So basically, we've been built to help manufacturers, distributors, wholesalers, and resellers really succeed by embedding our solution into their existing suite, leveraging that data to help them manage and control the relationships they have with their customers and improve that buying experience. So Sana is a truly integrated solution. So rather than being interfaced like other solutions out there, we basically plug straight into the ERP and we leverage all of the data that's already there. So it's a quick and smart integration, and there's only one system to maintain, which can basically eliminate those system silos, the complexities, and the possible compromises within the business. So all of the ERP data is available in the e-commerce platform in real time. The functionality can all be brought through as well. We have 46 integration points between the ERP and our solution. And if there's information that you need from the ERP to display to your customers, then as long as it's in there, then we can pull it out and display it. It's a single source of data, so single source of the truth. Everything that's maintained and changed that's business critical in the ERP can be pulled through straight through to the Sana solution. And changes only need to be made once, which is one of the key things. We are not maintaining those separate systems. We're leveraging the data that you've already invested in and you have at your fingertips right now. So what we're going to do now is just look at some of the sort of key features that we have. So just a quick point here. So customer convenience, faster and responsive shopping experience is really key. And we've changed our technology last year. So we moved from a .NET style interface to React, which is a new platform that is used by companies like Facebook to make the experience a nice, fast, quick, and easy one. We use sort of client-side rendering as well, which basically means it only loads the information that's available, and then if there's more information that needs to be downloaded, it'll download it when it's ready to pull it through, which basically means, from yours and my point of view, is from a shopping experience perspective, we can still go in and browse the store, and the load times are really, really fast. And which will cut out sort of dropout speeds from the actual web store itself. And we work remotely, so we can be used across any device with an internet connection. Eliminating errors, so reliability without compromise. So basically the ability for you to offer that high-end, fast-performing store, but also that what the sort of experience you'd have through the B2C environment. Like, I teach everyone how to be an expert in shopping, but we deal a lot online at the moment. I buy a lot through Amazon as an end user consumer. I have certain expectations what I want when I do that, and from a B2B buying perspective, we would want exactly the same. So I want to be able to go in and see sort of high res images. I expect to be able to go and see, especially if you're dealing with variants, we can support variants for Microsoft as well, so that can be all pulled through. Bulk buy discounts, whether that for B2C or B2B, and basically a nice shopping experience that's got all of the information that I have. The most successful stores that we have for our customers is the more information we can get on there, the less likely that the customers still need to make a phone call to get the information they need. And especially when it comes to B2B e-commerce, I think the more information we can actually have in the store, the better experience the customer's going to have. And creating these customer experiences is key. So the personalized storefronts, offering products and personalized content using our new visual designer can make a massive difference. So we put in functionality like drag and drop elements of pages around to change those content blocks, columns and rows. You can really style the backgrounds with any kind of personalized images and video and animations you might want. And we do things like customer segments as well, which you'll see in a video in a second, which actually shows you how to change the content depending on different segment groups that you split your customers up into, or actually individuals as well. We can do that with. So here on this particular video, it's just showing how we can create the sort of storefronts themselves and change the content. You can see I've just clicked on that and changed the text and underlined it. It's really like a click, drag and drop functionality, and this is included within our license fee. So you can basically have full control over the web store rather than having to pay external developers when you want to make tweaks and changes. It means you can start controlling all of that content in-house. And offering that, we talked about the products and content tailored to the customer as well, and how easy it is to change this and edit. I mentioned it was on a 12-column grid. You can see in that image we're just going in, duplicating a row, and then making one of those images larger and cutting down that row slightly, we can really start playing around with the content and making it look making it look nice. And here, the tailored by the customer as well, editing images, just uploading sort of YouTube clips in here. There, you've quickly made that page look really nice. And this is more important than ever. We used to be very B2B focused. However, with customers now looking for that B2C, B2B functionality, it's really important that we can control the look and feel of the front end web store, and a lot of it now is coming down to design as well as that integration functionality as well. And when it comes to the segments, we can come in here and just go and edit these columns. You see that's been edited, deleted the column, and now we're just going to go edit who can actually see that column. So you've got a segment row, and in here they're just going to click in US customers, so only US customers are going to see that row. But like I said, you could have it that actually only particular customers can see certain products and certain lines on there. And you can also schedule the time when that's going to go live. So you can just, if it's a certain offer, for instance, that you want, then you can just show that offer on a certain day and actually timescale it as well. So we've put this new visual designer in. We launched it last year. The feedback's been great, and I think it will really give you that opportunity there to go and customize that. And time efficient as well. So saving time with that content creation, using the new visual designer as we've just showed there. Every single content page of the whole website can be edited in here. As you can see, just clicking in there and just dragging and drop and moving things around. You can change those sort of images and text, and you can have any sort of animations or videos you would want to embed into here. It's all built on that single page application, the same as the actual store itself, which means it's really easy, really quick and easy to go and create those pages, and you can preview everything before you actually go live with it to make sure it's got the functionality that you require. Increasing trust and loyalty. So provide your customers with that personalized self-service experience, and that transparency, I think, is really one of the key elements when we talk about especially our integration in B2B commerce, is the ability to offer customers their own portal. So we can see in this video here, we're just adding some information. I think we're going to get a quote at this point. This is the single page checkout that we've put in place just to make ordering a lot easier. But when we go through to here, I can see that this is our sort of self-service area where customers can pay multiple invoices, they can go and generate returns, track orders, see the status of all their quotes, whether or not they're orderable or not. So it's really thinking that, what do our customers always call us about? Are they chasing information? Are they chasing their invoices? Are they chasing a statement of a delivery? All of these types of things, if we can empower our customers to do more of this, just like we might do on other consumer sites, and then it can really free up our staff in the back end and make them more productive in other areas of the business. The one-step checkout I showed you just then has really helped a lot of our businesses as well, and we can track sort of, if you've got multiple step checkouts that people have to go through and it increases that time to order process, then we can track the data through the web store to see if we're having any sort of basket abandonment issues. And then what we've worked on is this one page checkout and quote order screen has really improved conversion rates through the actual web store. So just making that process a lot easier can make a massive difference to the business as well. And simplifying that order process as well. Like I said, a customer can go in and see all of their order history through here. So this isn't just the orders they've placed through the web store. If you've got historic information that you want to display, they might have phoned up or talked to a salesperson. They can come in and actually go and view all of that information in here. We can hit reorder. So if they've got 50, 100 lines on an order they might have placed, they can reorder and it will put it back into the actual basket itself, and it will do a recalculation to make sure all the stock's available and the pricing is being put through from their customer card in the ERP, make all the relevant calculations, and then we have a simple reorder process in here. I think the self-service point I'm trying to get across here is how much this is an important part of the digital transformation piece. And it really does, because it links into everything you do with the ERP. It really helps us empower those customers to do things themselves. Like this example of generating their own returns, it will bring through the return reasons from the ERP. It still goes through the same business logic and approval logic that you have in place already, and they can go and attach images, etc., and complete return requests to be authorized. Now, as a side note, these portals are available as standalone. So if you're not quite ready to go full-blown e-commerce where your customers are ordering everything from a web store, but you think actually it'd be really good to have a portal in place, then we can still give you access to everything you've seen right here, apart from you wouldn't have the add to cart or price information on the web store. You could have a catalog and a self-service area, a new corporate website at a reduced cost. And if that's something you're looking for, we can just upgrade to e-commerce later down the line. So we do have a lot of customers going down that portal route if they're just not quite ready for full-blown e-commerce yet. So you can talk to either myself or Dynamics consultants, and we can help with that as well. And we offer full web store analytics. So one of the key things we want to look at when we're looking at e-commerce is our return on investment and how many customers have actually adopted the store. And we can see from this these analytic tools exactly which customers have registered, how much they're ordering, their average order values, has it increased, decreased. We can basically do month by month analysis, salesperson analysis, and we can really start tracking how our web store is working, what needs to be optimized, do we need to get more customers on there, which ones are more traditional, ordering offline still, how can we help them adopt that online shopping experience. So we offer all these within the actual web store itself as well. Well, that's what I wanted to take you through today. So just to cover off some of the key takeaways there. Firstly, our integrated approach. So Sana is fully integrated into the ERP, NAV Business Central, and it does enhance some of the functionality as well to help you manage the actual web store. And you only need to manage your business data in the one place. So that single source of truth means more accurate information and less errors, and can save a lot of business processing time as well. Offering customers omni-channel experiences. Again, some of our customers have B2B closed stores. However, it's getting more and more popular now with customers who want a B2C, a B2B, or direct-to-consumer experience, and we can help you with however you want to approach this. Controlling your content as well. So with the visual designer that we showed, we've made it easier than ever now to help manage the content on your website / web store to really be relevant and create a great shopping experience for your customers as well. Improving business processes, so no more entering manual orders or which errors can occur in stock availability or pricing or anything like that. All the information is replicated from the ERP, which really does improve that back-end process to make it more efficient. And the self-service portal, again, empower those customers, give them access to all the information that they want at their fingertips 24/7, even, order tracking, download their own invoices, the ability to generate returns. This really does free up a lot of time for the staff to focus on the more proactive goals of the business, and it's a more professional, long-standing approach that can really help increase customer retention as well. And finally, the digital transformation piece, which is a key project taken by pretty much most companies we talk about. It's all about that digital transformation piece. And when we talk about e-commerce and self-service portals, they really are a key element to this. And with our integration with the ERP, we are really in a prime position to help you really, get to the true potential of this digital journey as well. So thank you very much again for joining me, and I'm just going to pass you back to Catherine. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Alex, and thanks for lunch and the information on Sana. It was a really interesting session and very relevant with today being online, being so essential, especially in the recent times. We don't appear to have any questions as yet, but please feel free to put any questions in the comments box. And obviously, if anybody wants more information on Sana and Alex's contact details, then please let us know. So next we have Darryl Bates-Brownsword. Today, Darryl is talking about succession planning to value the business and the time taken to realise that business value. As Darryl will explain, this doesn't mean that we are selling or that you are planning to sell the business, but ensures that you build the business so that it does realise the best value when you decide to. Over to you, Darryl.
Are you a business owner getting to the stage where you're starting to think about what's next? Have you ever wondered, how do I step back or even exit my business and do it on my terms? Hello, I'm Darryl Bates-Brownsword, and Succession Plus is here to answer those exact questions. As a bit of background, did you know that only 40% of businesses that go to market actually end up being sold? So we work with business owners so they can get the most from their life's work, and by implementing the things that most businesses have missing and end up eroding value. So in this session, I'm going to share with you the things that you will need to do in your business to make it attractive to buyers. So what we know is that the principles that increase value in any business, in every business, are the same across all industries. The principles, what buyers are looking for is they want some reassurance that the investment, the money they're spending on your business, will be money well spent, and that they're basing it on future revenues and your revenue forecasts as a starting point. So they want to know what assurances they have that those forecasts are likely to be achieved, is one thing. They're looking at track record, they're looking at history, they're looking at all of the resources, all of the skills, all of the capabilities in your business. And crucially, critically, they're looking at how dependent the business is on you. How much does the business rely on you being there as a business owner day by day, making decisions, making sure that the cogs keep turning. So they're the crucial things. And what we want to know is, let's put together the framework of how we need to put those changes in place to gradually make the business less dependent on you so that you can leave on your terms. And we've all heard of the stories about working on our business and that we need to systemize our business. But what does that actually mean? Well, let's get started and put some things into place. So what we've got is, this is our 3-7-5 framework. And we start with the 3. And the 3 refers to the 3 exit options available to you. And even before we choose on the exit options, we need to decide if we're going to go through a succession strategy first, or are we just going to go straight to exit? And succession is when I back off, or when you back off, or you wind down from your business and you back out of being in an operational role where the business requires you to be there every single day to make those decisions. And you move more into a strategic role or a board-only role. Exit is when you leave the business altogether. You have no involvement in the equity side of things. The next part is the 7. The 7 refers to the 7 value building levers. These are the strategies that really crank up the valuation in your business. They move beyond balance sheet thinking. And balance sheet it recognizes that the real value in your business lies in your intangible assets. And we want to move beyond that goodwill thinking and having this valuation of, well, we've got this goodwill number, to being able to decide and prescribe and get really clear around what lies in our goodwill and why our goodwill number, our multiplier value, is worth so much more. And once I've moved through my 7 value building levers, the thing that's really critical is putting all these things in place. It's great knowing what I'm going to do, and then the next thing is knowing how to do it and making sure that I get these things done and make sure I get them done quickly and efficiently to really get that kicker in valuation I'm looking for. So this is the tool we use to explore and understand what exit options are available to us. So the first half of that graph we've called the growth phase, and our businesses grow in steps, and we grow through growing pains, and then we have growth spurts, and we have more growing pains and growth spurts, and that becomes a cyclic activity through our whole growth phase. And what we find is that there's a couple of areas that are high stress on the business owners when we're running our business, and that's at startup, and at that point where I decide to do that exit and let go of my baby, essentially. Let my baby move on into the next part of its life. So during this growth phase of the business, I'm going through succession planning, and hopefully I'm training up, I'm developing the people that are working with me, and I'm stepping back and I'm helping them to grow. And that way I'm creating a future for them and for the business. And that's a big key in helping increase the valuation. And when it comes to the exit strategy, the exits tend to fall into three main areas. The first one is the light blue one. And the light blue one is where I go, you know what? I've taken this business as far as I want to. I'm happy. I'm really delighted in what I've achieved and what I've invested so far. And I'm now ready to move on. So I'm happy to hand the reins over to the next generation, the next owners, the next managers, whoever that is, the next family members. And I'm happy to gradually step down and step back. I'll be there, I'll mentor them, I'll support them, but I'm taking a back seat and you guys can take the business forward. The next one is what we call the fadeaway. Now the fadeaway is that red line, and it often refers to a business or it becoming obsolete in the industry. It's when the business is totally revolving around one person potentially or the owners, and it just becomes obsolete and they gradually, or it even gradually winds down as they die back. And it's a business that is really self-employed and they really haven't built any assets around them. We don't want you to fade away. Now the third one is that dark blue line. Now the dark blue line is a step up, and that's when the owners say to us, hey, we've got one last hurrah in us. We want to grow, we want to get all in, we want to crank up the value, and we want to grow it and have a big step up in valuation, and then we'll all leave. We'll do some sort of exit. And so they're the three exits that we can have, the three styles of exit. And it's really important to know which of those styles is more attractive to us, which is the route we want to go down, because it influences everything else that we're going to do with designing our exit strategy and getting the timeframes right. Because what we know and what you need to be aware of really early in the phase is that it really takes 1 to 3 years to get everything right, especially if you're looking to maximize value in your business before you exit. So once you've made those decisions, then you can move on to the seven value building levers. And what I'm going to focus on is how do I apply those 7 value building levers? And we've got 3 levers that are in what focus on profit builders. And then I've got 4 levers that really crank up and multiply the value. So here's a little image here that we've put together that just sort of shows what happens in reality and to set the expectations for business owners. Now that green circle is the current valuation now, the business value that you've got today. And most business owners, they'll have a value in mind that they feel the business owes them, or they feel they've got an exit value that they want to get for when they move down. And that's represented by that purple mark on the chart, the model we've got there. Now that purple valuation is often aspirational, and it's not always related to what assets actually lie in the business. So we've got to get some education, if you like, some appreciation of what value the business really is now. So what is the actual number for that green position on the chart? And that light blue line represents what will happen, how the business will grow over time if things keep going the same. If we don't do anything special to the business, if the business keeps going as it did, the business valuation will keep growing at a level, at a rate, and that'll be linked to profit. You know, I'll increase the profit and the value grows. Now, there's a whole lot of things I can do, and there's a lot of finance people out there working on these side of things that will tidy up the profit of my business. And some of it's stripping out unnecessary costs, some of it's tidying up my accounts and all of my financials. And they're basic, simple tasks that are really related to good housekeeping and really need to be done, but it's tidying up the profit and showing a track record of higher profits. And you can, when you start intervening and working on those areas, the valuation of the business will move from that light blue line to the red line. And you can see how it increases, but it's usually not enough to get the business valuation to where the owners really want it. And so what we need to do is, and here's where time becomes critical, because this takes 18 months or so at least to really get these valuations flowing through. So if your purple mark is above the red line, then you really need to allow at least 18 months to put the strategies in place to get the valuation you're looking for. Otherwise, you're going to be disappointed. It may take a bit more risk, but it's definitely going to take a bit more time and planning to get these things in place, because these things are more strategic and they take time to come through. So just setting your expectations. We're talking about brand, serious branding in the marketplace, getting some IP in place, some being aware in the marketplace for standard processes and systemizing, and a marketing machine, genuine, repeatable marketing that's reliable and consistent. Then once we've got those in place, what we need to look for is actually implementing all of these initiatives. As I said, it takes 18 months to 3 years if you really want to get the most out of your valuation, or a bit, 12 months if you're looking to just tidy up the profits and get all of your financials and your histories in order, just to make sure that you'll get through a due diligence process swiftly and cleanly. So what we've got is the 5 stages of implementation. And these are the things that we'll be working with you through, or you can do on your own terms if you like, but if you really want to get there quickly, you need a guide, a Sherpa if you like. And these are the things you need to work on. So the first thing you need to do is get really clear on what your current valuation is. Once you've got your current valuation, then there's a few more things, there's a few more steps you need to do to protect your existing value. And this is protect the business from unplanned events and protect the shareholders should something happen. So it just makes the business a bit more stable and a bit more protected and reduces the risk for potential buyers as well as the existing owners. Once you've got the existing risk and valuation protected, then you want to go in and do all the things we need to do to crank up and leverage the valuation. And these are all the things through systemizing and growing and your strategic planning that we were talking about earlier, and building the brand value and the marketing machine. Then you're ready to extract the value. Once you're ready, you've got everything in place, you can go through a due diligence process cleanly and you'll be able to extract the value from your business. And then for some of those business owners who have really built a considerate business, a significant business, they'll end up with a whole lot of wealth in their bank account, a whole lot of cash in their bank account that they've never seen before. And then we need to move on to managing the value, because how do I manage that value for ongoing generations? And that's when we need to do some estate planning and get some legal advice in to protect your value and manage that value for the next generations. So there you have it. There's a whistle-stop tour, a snapshot, if you like, of all of the things that you need to do if you want to start thinking about getting your business ready for exit so that you can exit on your terms and maximize value. The message I really want to bring home is that it takes time if you want to go through this. So many business owners I speak to end up having a bit of a shock when they realize what their business is really worth to a buyer today, and then what it will take to increase the valuation to get up to what their expectations or what they were hoping for. You really want to allow your 1 to 3 years to maximize this value so that you get your business in a position so that you will end up as one of those 40% who do sell rather than those who don't. So thanks for spending time with me today. I'm Darryl, and if you want to follow up or find out more or get a whole lot more detail around what I've shared with you today, here's my details on the screen, and I'm sure the guys will be happy to put you in touch with me. Thanks.
Thank you, Darryl. I'm sure many of you found that quite thought-provoking. If there's any questions, then please feel free to put them into the chat. And if you want Darryl's contact details, obviously we're more than happy to forward them on. So reminder, questions, please add them into the comments and we will monitor them all through the sessions. And the next session, now we have Stuart. Stuart Hardman is our commercial manager, and Stuart is going to show us a couple of new features from the latest version of Business Central 18 that came out in April this year. Over to you, Stuart.
One of the more regular and tedious jobs in Business Central is the bank reconciliation. For a number of years now, Business Central has had the ability to set up a data exchange definition. These definitions allow you to map the columns from the bank statement to the columns in the bank reconciliation, allowing you to import the file and create your reconciliation. This has always been a slightly more technical job, and often Dynamics consultants have carried out this work on behalf of our customers. However, new functionality released in version 18 gives the ability for the end user to create a data exchange definition for their bank imports using a simple wizard. If I open a bank reconciliation and try and import a file, the system tells me that my bank doesn't have an import format associated with it. When I open the card, I'm prompted at the top to set up a bank statement import. If I click on the link, This then opens up the bank statement file setup wizard. Firstly, we need to upload a bank statement. The wizard will then try and work out which columns it needs to use for the reconciliation. For now, we'll accept the default and complete the process. Once we complete the process, it creates a bank statement import format and asks which bank account we wish to associate it with. I can now complete the wizard, and this finishes the setup. I'm now going to import my bank statement to the reconciliation and use the automatic matching functionality. I have a quick look at the results and post the reconciliation. However, I've just realised I've made a mistake. There were two £500 entries on the bank reconciliation, and I've matched the payment to the wrong one. Thankfully, there is now a new functionality that allows us to undo a posted reconciliation and return us to the same position we were in prior to hitting post. I press the undo button, and it asks me to confirm that I want to reverse the reconciliation. I say yes, and it opens a new reconciliation with all of the entries back open. Now that I've undone the posting, I can change the reconciliation to the correct entry and then repost it. I'll select the line that I want to change and press the Remove Match button. Then I select the correct entry that I want and press the Match Manually button. Now I can post the bank reconciliation. Problem solved. Most customers use dimensions in some way within Business Central. It's always been possible to set a default dimension value for records. For instance, we can see on this customer that they have the area code dimension set to 40 for Europe North non-EU. The value posting is set to code mandatory, meaning that whilst it defaults in 40, the user can change it to any other value, but they must enter one. You can also set value posting to same code, meaning that the dimension value cannot be changed from 40. But what if you want to allow some flexibility? In the latest release, Microsoft have extended this functionality to allow the users to specify a filter. We know that this customer has started opening offices throughout Europe, so we want to be a bit more flexible. We can still leave the default dimensions as 40, but set some additional filters allowing the user to change the dimension values on transactions. By clicking in the Allowed Value filter, we can change which values are allowed. I'll open a sales invoice for this customer, and then change the area dimension to a different value, in this case, American North. Now when I try and post the invoice, I get an error message telling me that the dimension value isn't allowed. I'll change the dimension again to one that is allowed, Europe North for instance, and try and post the invoice. As expected, the system will now allow me to post successfully. Oh no, I've made another mistake. I'm not having a good day. I meant to change the dimension to area code 40. Thankfully, in the latest release, Microsoft have given us the ability to change dimensions on posted entries without having to reverse and repost the entire transaction. I've drilled down on the related entries for this invoice and selected them all. I can now select the action to correct dimensions. This new page shows you the entries that you have selected and the relevant dimensions. I'm going to change the area dimension to area code 40. I can also ask it to automatically update the relevant analysis views. When I'm happy with my changes, I can run the correction routine. I have the option at this point to run immediately. If I don't select this, then the routine will run in the background in the job queue. As this is only a change to a small number of dimensions, I will ask it to run immediately. The system also keeps a record of what changes have been made to the dimensions. The changes I've showed you today are just a few of the dozens of changes made by Microsoft in version 18. If you'd like to know more about the changes or are interested in an upgrade, then please speak to Catherine, Tom, your consultant, or myself. Remember, we are also now offering a subscription upgrade service allowing you to upgrade quickly and painlessly once a year. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Stuart. That's really good. I'm sure people are going to benefit from being able to amend dimensions. I can't tell you how many support calls we've had of that over the years. You're all very quiet out there today. No more questions have come in, so we'll move on now to Mari. So now we have Mari from Tasklet Factory, who's going to give us an overview of their barcoding solution that sits over NAV and Business Central. They've added some new functionality into the latest release, and this covers consumption and output from both production orders and assembly orders. So it's effectively doing your shop floor data capture for you. Great news for the warehousing and manufacturing companies amongst you. So remember, any questions go into the chat box and we'll pick them up at the end. So over to you, Mari.
Hi all, and welcome to this short mobile WMS webinar regarding Tasklet Factory, both our warehousing solution and more specifically our production and assembly module. Today's webinar will be with focus on the production and assembly functionalities that has been released quite recently. But first of all, I would like to do just a short introduction of Tasklet Factory for those of you who do not know us yet. And then I will do an ultra short introduction to the warehousing environment. And then last but definitely not least, a intro to both the production module and the assembly module. First of all, just a short intro to Tasklet. Tasklet Factory Mobile WMS integrates directly into Microsoft Dynamics NAV and Business Central, actually all the way back to NAV 4.0 and all the way up to the newest version of BC, both on-prem and SaaS, so the cloud version. Also, we integrate into AX and finance and operations. Tasklet was founded back in 2008, and our solution is today sold through a Microsoft Dynamics partner network. We have 250 plus partners around the world, 800 customers, and all of these are divided into somewhere close to 35 different countries. We have a main office here in Denmark, where I'm situated. We are 35 people in total, and we have an office in the US as well, in Tampa, Florida, where I have 5 colleagues working from. Apart from selling the software, the WMS solution, we are also hardware advisors, meaning that we can help you guys out with finding the right scanning devices, whether it's being for handheld devices, hands-free, you want to do long distance scanning, if you need scanners for freezers and so forth. Apart from being advisors, we are also resellers of hardware, so you can actually get the complete package via us. That is all I want to tell you about Tasklet for now, and now I want to move on to the demo itself. All right, so let's first of all have a quick look at some of the standard warehousing functionalities. You'll be able to do basically everything you can do in NAV or Business Central in the warehousing module. What we try to do is just to make everything a lot easier for the guys in the warehouse. Before we start looking at production and assembly, I just want to show you receive, put away and pick quickly, just to show you and for you guys to get a feel on how everything works. So the receive functionality, this would be your purchase orders, sales return orders and so forth. We have a list of orders, and to quickly find the one we want to be working on, we just pick up a product on the pallet in front of us in the receive department, do a quick scan, and the system will actually filter. In this case, I scan a piece of orange chocolate. It could be a different product that will scan, where that, in this case, the pistachio chocolate is only contained in one order. It will open up the order automatically, and I'm ready to start receiving. We now know that it's London Postmaster who's the sender. To start receiving, simply scan a product, validate the quantity if I have all 10, like so. I'll do the same for the pistachios, scan the product and validate the quantity. If I haven't got all 15, you can of course change this and put in the amount that you might have. We also support both lot number tracked item and serial number tracked items. Just to show you quickly, scan the product, in this case it's lot number tracked with an expiration date. You can set the date automatically using the calendar. And next up, the lot number. If you haven't got a barcode for this, you can of course type it. That goes for everything within the solution. In this case, we do have one, and validate the quantity. And the same goes for the serial numbers. If I want to go ahead and post what received so far, I can do that using the menu in the right-hand corner. Press post and press OK. I can add additional information to an order if needed. In this case, it's a delivery note number, but it could be a signature or something else I want to add. That is definitely possible as well. I'll just go ahead and scan this. All the registrations I've done are now completed and sent back into NAV or Business Central, and everything is registered as being received. The last two lines here, I can receive those later if they're there. If not, I can just remove this order from the device. Next up is our putaways. The products we posted a second ago is automatically generated into a putaway order and are now listed on the device. It looks more or less the same. The only difference is we now have a bin listed. So the internal location within the warehouse, the 03, 0002, 0001, and 003 bin. And just to show you how a putaway would work, I'll go ahead and go to my first bin. I can either scan the bin first or scan the product first. That's up to you. Works both. So scan one, then scan the next one and validate the quantity. And I'll keep going until I've placed everything. If I want to change the bin, that's possible as well. Let's say the expected bin is the 0001. I don't want to place it here. Instead, I want to place it on 0002. The system will pop up saying, are you sure this is what you want to do? And I go ahead and press yes and validate the quantity. And again, post everything I've done. Like so. And again, this is now registered as being not only inside the warehouse, but placed on the recommended bins. The last I want to show you before we go to production and assembly is the pick functionality. So whether you're picking for sales orders or for production orders, it will look more or less the same. Open up your pick worksheet here. And as you can see, it looks like your putaways. We know which bin to go to, in this case, the 03 001, and go ahead and find our pistachios. Scan the bin first, order product first, up to you. And then, of course, validate the quantity we're picking. And the same with our lot number tracked item, scan the product and the bin. And then, of course, we need to scan the lot number for full tracking, like so. And again, validate the quantity. And then we're good to go and ready to post. And as soon as I post this, the pick is registered as being picked basically within the ERP system. Then we have some lookup functionalities, one of them being locate item. I'll just show you that one quickly. Basically, scan a barcode on a product, and this will tell you whereabouts in the warehouse you can find it and the quantity available. The same goes for the bins. We have a lookup functionality for those as well. So if we have a quick look at one of our bins, you just press the right button here. In this case, our bin W03 003. It tells us that on this bin there's supposed to be 100 Pugger peppermint teas. We have a few more really good functionalities. I don't want to go into these right now. I just want to say that if you, after seeing this, want to get a full demo, just contact us or reach out to Dynamics consultants, and they'll definitely help you with a demo of the functionalities themselves. All right, so let's finish this session off with having a look at our production and assembly module, which are both new. We have up until now, of course, been able to pick for production and assembly orders. The same goes for putaways of items from a production and assembly orders, and movements of items between stock and the production area, for example. But what we can actually do now with the production module anyway is we can register consumption and output on a production order. We can register waste and also starting up time and time consumed on a production order if you're using routing. So opening up our production module, we have two production orders ready, and we are about to produce some mint chocolate and some orange chocolate. As you can see on the lines here, we have some information. We have the starting date. We said we're a bit behind, 3 years behind, so we need to get started now anyway. But we have the quantity we need to produce, how many we produced already, which is none, and then the remaining quantity, of course, and same goes down here. If we start up with the first one here, and we want to consume some items for production, and again, I want to say that this is if you want to do everything manually. This is the manual process, and it's based on the standard journals in the ERP system. Some of this will maybe be automated with some of you out there, but we want to show you the whole process from start to finish, and there might be a need for some customizations, and that is definitely possible as well. So start off with consuming items. Press the consume item or double tap the the production order. And as you can see here, we have everything placed on our production bin, and everything has been picked already. So everything has been picked from the warehouse. We've done that previous to this demo. And we're basically ready to start receiving or start using consuming our products by scanning them and validating. Going back one, let's imagine everything has been picked and we are ready to register some output. And again, depending on whether you're using routing or not and the whole time registration, it will look a bit different. If we take the first one up here and go to register output, this is a route-based production order. So in this case, we want to put in the finished quantity. To actually set up time, we can set that up and show that. We can put in run time and scrap. And again, we can either do it in steps just by tapping our way through. Finished quantity is 200. Setup time might be, let's say, 20 minutes. Our run time was 10 minutes. And then scrap, perhaps we needed to scrap 2 pieces. And then that's it. All of this is registered. And then that is for the production, and we can do the same for the packing of the product. You can also, just by choosing the line, start off by just register some time and nothing else. That's up to you. If you are working without routing, then go back one here. The orange chocolate down here is without routing. We want to register output. It looks a bit different. All we need to register is scrap and then, of course, the finished quantity. But if we do try to register time as it's not set up, we will be told this is not possible as this is not a route production order. All right, so let's have a look at the last functionality, the assembly module. As before, we have an order listed here that we need to assemble. In this case, a chocolate display. And we have the information, we have our starting date. Again, we're a bit behind on that one. We have the quantity we need to assemble, the finished quantity and the remaining quantity. And let's just get started. I will open up this order. So the top line we actually see here is the quantity we want to end up with. So 10 in total. This is our chocolate display that we're actually assembling. The lines below is what we need to put into this box or into this display. And if we don't want to assemble all 10 at once, we can adjust the quantity we actually want to assemble. So just go ahead and press adjust quantity. I put in I only want to assemble one at a time, like so. And then, of course, the quantity we want to be using for the assembly will change. And to start this off, I actually want to go to the bottom and start off with the card box display. So I just need a single one for this one. The same goes for our mint chocolates. We need 25 in total, and we want to scan the lot number that we'll be using for this assembly. And the same goes for the orange chocolate, and we have a lot number for that as well, and the quantity. Last but not least, we want to actually register that this ends up being one chocolate display. So we need to scan where we're going to place this finished product and then put in the expiration date for this new product. I'm just going to stay with or stick with this one here. Then we can scan a lot number or type it like so. And then, of course, say, okay, we produced or we assembled one piece. And I'm happy to post that. It's now posted, sent back into the ERP system. And as you can see, we now have 9 remaining. Again, we can adjust the quantity if we want to. If not, we can assemble all 9 at once. That's up to us. Another possibility for the assembly orders is that you can actually create an assembly order directly on the device. Press a create assembly order. You can decide which item is it I want to create, enter the quantity you are creating on the assembly order, and so forth. So basically, guys, this is just a short introduction to Tasklet Factory Mobile WMS, both the warehousing and the production and assembly modules. We are, as mentioned, more than happy to set up a full demo where we can show you all of the out-of-the-box functionalities. So contact us or contact your ERP partner directly, and we'll set up a demo. Thank you so much.
Many thanks, Mari. It's great to see this new functionality, and I'm sure that has the potential to be potential interest for a number of our customers. Still all quiet on the question front. Please don't be shy. Please put us some questions in. We're all sitting here on tenterhooks waiting to answer your questions. Now we're going back to Stuart to show us some integration to third-party tools for currency exchange rates. So over to you, Stuart.
If you're a company that buys and sells goods or services from overseas, then you're probably familiar with the currency functionality in Business Central. You're probably also familiar with the pain of updating the exchange rates in the system. Within this Cronus database, I've got a huge number of currencies with no currency exchange rates. Normally, I'd have to go through and manually fill in these for every currency, either on a daily, weekly or monthly basis. But I'm about to show you some functionality that will greatly speed up this process. The first thing we're going to do is search for the currency exchange rate service. The currency exchange rate service is standard functionality that has been available in the last few versions of NAV and Business Central. Once this service has been set up, it allows you to retrieve from an online service the exchange rates for all of the currencies that are set up in your system. There are one or two free options out there, and one in particular that we use called float rates, but there are also subscription services that you can use if you wish to get your exchange rates from a different location. The first thing we need to do is create a currency exchange rate service. I'm going to call mine float. Enter the code and a description. Then you need to supply it with the service URL that you'll be connecting to. The address for float rates is www.floatrates.com/daily/gbp.xml. Float rates provide a variety of different exchange rates, so you can get the exchange rates from the perspective of different currencies. Obviously, this is a British company, so we're getting the exchange rates from the perspective of the GBP currency. If you work in US dollars or euros, you can change the GBP to the code for the currency that is relevant to you. Once you've entered the service URL, you need to map elements of the XML file from the service to the information that we require within Business Central. Within the parent node for the currency code, if you click on the Assist Edit button, you can select which part of this you're going to pull back. We're going to select the top level, Item. Select that and say OK. Then we need to map each of these different elements. The currency code we're going to populate from the target currency. You can see here it's got an example of US dollars. We'll match the starting date to the date that we're retrieving the published exchange rates, so we use the publishing date. The exchange rate amount that we're going to pull back will be the exchange rate from the service. Then we need to tell it what the relational exchange rate amount is. For this value, we're going to insert a default value of 1. This will mean that when it retrieves the exchange rates, 1 GBP will be equal to the exchange rate amount that it retrieves for US dollars, for instance. The final piece we need to do is to set the starting date transformation rule. What this does is take the format of the date that it receives from the XML feed and it converts it to a date format that Business Central can use. In this case, we use the UK date format. That is all we need to do to get this set up initially. Once we've set up this mapping, we can then press the preview button. This goes off and retrieves the XML feed and sees if the setup is working. As we can see here, what we now have is a list of all of the currency codes that we have in Business Central with the starting date of today's date and the relevant exchange rate amounts. I'm happy this has been set up correctly. We'll close the page and go through and schedule this to run on a job queue within your Business Central system. The first thing to do is click on the Enable button. When you enable it, a job queue is created. It asks us if we want to open the job queue card. Click on Yes to open it. This will allow us to change how often it runs. The job queue card opens and we can change the settings for how often it will run. First, we need to set it to on hold. This allows us to change the settings. It might be that we want it to run on a weekly basis, but only on a Monday. Turn off each of the days we don't want it to run. Leave it to run on a Monday morning with a start date of 8 AM. When you're happy with the setup, set the status to ready. Exit the page And now every Monday at 8 AM, the system will go off and retrieve the latest exchange rates from float rates. Bring them in and populate them against the currencies you have got in your Business Central database. If you need any more information on this, go to our website at d-c.co.uk and click on blogs. You'll see there is a blog there detailing how to set this all up. Thank you.
Thanks, Stuart. I'm sure that's going to be of great interest to many finance teams, saving them time as they update the exchange rates on a weekly or a monthly basis. Okay, so now it's my turn and I'm going to show you some features in both NAV and Business Central. We asked the team for things that they thought were good hints and tips, and here are a few, and I'm planning to do some more next time.
So today I'm going to show you some hints and tips and some new features that we've found that you're possibly not aware of. The first one is in sales and receivables setup, and it's related to the posting description. I'm sure that you're all fully aware that when the transactions go through to the general ledger, that it just takes the document number or the GL description. And we've done many a modification over the years to take the line description across to the GL entry so you can see whose telephone bill it is for. So now there is a setting in sales and receivables setup that does this for you. So copy line description to the GL entry. It's an on-off switch. Where we see this then obviously is in the transactions. So if I go to posted sales invoice, and if I look at 103036, I look at this one here and show this transaction, you can see that I've put on this line description and it's against GL code 6610. So the first point is this is against GL codes only. If I go now to my chart of accounts and navigate to 6610, and if we go and drill down on the change here, you can see that instead of it just bringing through the description of the account 6610, it's brought through the line description. So that's a really nice feature just by turning on that functionality. One of the other things that you'll notice is that we've got a bookmark here. So this little tag here, this one's obviously turned on and is flagged as a bookmark, which brings it onto my home page here. Which is why I've bookmarked a few things that I'm using today. So really nice to have those shortcuts on your home page. One of the other things that we've missed in the role center is the ability to zoom in on the lines or the header. So if I'm sitting on a document here, we used to do Control F8 in the old days, or Tools and Zoom, and it's now Control Alt and F1 opens up a pane on the right hand side, and as you can see, this is looking at the sales header, is looking at the table fields. If I had any extensions applicable here, it would look at those, and here are all of the fields that are on my sales header, whether they're visible or not. So you can still get now to Tool Zoom by going Control Alt and F1 in the web client. So I'm sure you'll all be thrilled with that. One of the other things that we like as a feature is the freeze pane. So here I am on a document, and you know that we've got so many columns going on over here on the right hand side, and I'm scrolling backwards and forwards. So basically, for us to be able to hold the name and the description, for example, I can actually put on a freeze pane. So if I use the personalize button, and it opens up the designer tab, you'll see that when I hover here, that when I click on the little arrow, I've got set freeze pane. So I can literally flag my freeze pane here, so you now see where it's actually sat. So when I come out, and let's refresh the screen and come back in again, that basically now has set my freeze pane. So if I start scrolling across, let's tab into a column, let's scroll across here, and you'll see that my freeze pane is locked. So I can still see my part number and my description, even though I'm right the way across on the other side of the column. So really nice and easy to set the freeze pane. One of the other things that I wanted to show you has been in this product for a long time under the item card, and it's the ability to set extended text against an item. So against this particular item, the bicycle, I have defined some extended text. So there's a flag here that allows that to be automatically generated onto the documents. So the automatic extended text box is turned on, and then we set the extended text here against the item. So you can have multiple extended text because this is also how it handles the language code. So if I wanted this translated into French, I would have the French language code, and then I would do the translation for me. So basically, I've given it a description and I've put in my additional text going on here. There is a starting and an ending date, so it could be that it's related to a special offer for this item or not. And then we have the documents that we want this extended text to appear on automatically. So I've got it on the sales quote, the sales order and the sales invoice, but not on the blanket order and not on the returns order, and likewise on this side as well. And therefore I've got exactly the same questions against the purchases documents and also the service documents. So it might be that you've got unpacking or you've got handling requirements that you want to print on the documents. So I've created that as an automatic extended text so that when I go now and create a new sales order for my bicycle, so if I select new here and let's choose a customer, and we'll use the good old Canon Group. And I come down onto the lines here, and if I choose my item, the bicycle, and as soon as I select that, it's automatically inserted that extended text. Now, I've set another one up for the front wheel, but I haven't done the automatic extended text because it may well be that it's related to something else, and we want to just do it on manually. So basically, I can go to line and then functions and insert extended text, and that will drop it in as a manual intervention. So I could have that extended text set up and then choose when I want to use it or not. So this one is automatic and puts it on the documents that you have specified, and this one you go and select it to be updated as you require it. Okay, so a couple of other things, that the ability to duplicate tabs. So if let's go into a customer card here, and what I can do is I can right click here and do duplicate tab. So now I've got this opened in another tab. This is particularly useful if you're trying to do things on something like an item card and you still want the filter pane. Obviously, once you drill into the details underneath here, you can expand these screens and open it in a separate window, but you lose all of it just literally opens this customer card, so you lose all of the filtering and all of those sorts of things. So by using the duplicate tab, you've got literally a duplicate of whatever you've got running on that screen. So that's quite a nice hint and tip that we've got there. The other one to be able to focus a bit more detail on the order is when you're actually in an order, you have this button here which pops out just the lines. Now we've got the totals on this page. It's you've obviously got less in your little fast tab, and so by using the pop out button, then basically it gives you focus purely on the lines of that particular order, and then literally just unclick it to go back. I think this is a new feature. Not sure when it came out, but on the journal, we've actually got some extra columns on here that give us a fact box to show additional errors. So we know the copy the VAT and the allow VAT differences and suggest balancing account have been there for years, but this background error checking and the copy the posted lines to a journal. I've ticked this one up. This one I'm going to show you, and I'll talk you through that one. So when I go into my batch here, in my my fact box here on the right hand side, you can see now that I've got an error. So I've obviously done a deliberate error. So I've got a GL line here, which is for £100 debit, and then I've got a balancing line here for £100 credit, and then I've done a single line here for £50. So my journal is out of balance by £50 overall, same document number, same date. But when I open my facts box, it's actually telling me here. So it's telling me that I've got 3 lines, I've got one particular issue, and that is that the current line is out of balance with this document number, out of balance by £50. And obviously there's a number of ways that I could fix that error. The copy posted lines to journals, I'm a bit confused by this one, because we have the ability to reverse out a journal, but that's in essence what this does. So you can hover on a line, select to take those posted lines, and it will create that back in another journal for you, which is exactly what the reverse the journal does, and it handles the document numbers and everything. So I think it's possibly allowing certain templates to do that rather than not. Okay, so the other thing is recurring documents. So I'm using a purchase invoice here, and recurring lines, standard templates has been in the system for a while. They've called it recurring lines now rather than not. So against this works exactly the same for sales and purchases. So against a customer or a vendor, and again this works on orders or invoices. I'm just using it as a good example here, because we use this internally also. So against my expenses, I'm going to have mileage lines, I'm going to have trains, I'm going to have postage and phone and whatever. So in the background, I've set up recurring lines, and then they come through automatically on the invoices. So if I go to purchase recurring purchase lines, here we go. So basically you can define them. So what I've done is I set up my expenses one, and I've defined the GL codes that I want to appear. I've put a quantity in here, but that's not necessary. And obviously you can put dimensions in here. So because this is Sam's Expensive, I've used the department code, obviously, that they can go into, but as you can see, the other dimensions are there. Obviously, if you were doing mileage, if it was a standard trip to the office and back, then obviously you could default the mileage in, etc. So basically, I'm defining the lines that I want to appear in my template. So now I'm going to select a new purchase invoice, and let's go plus new, and I'm going to choose the vendor. So it's EXP. So there's Sam's Expenses. Obviously fill in all the top of the details in the normal way. And then as soon as I've gone into it, you can see that it's brought those lines on. I literally haven't had to do anything. So now as Sam, I can go in, I can change my mileage and say I've done 500 miles, and obviously put in the rest of the details at 45p a mile, not £45, 45p. And I carry on from there. So very easy to start to build the expenses by giving them the GL codes. It saves them having to go and look it up, etc., etc. You can also shortcut straight to documents. So for example, if I'm an order processing clerk and I'm always going to be doing sales order processing, what I've done is I've done a shortcut. So basically this literally opens up Business Central and takes me straight to a new sales order. So I can obviously take it to a list, or I can take it to a new sales order. So from that point of view, when I'm in the place that I want, I can literally copy and paste that and add it to my shortcuts, my favorites, and then it will take me straight to that screen. So I don't have to go through the role center, go and select it, etc., etc., etc. So if you've got people that are only doing 1 or 2 functions, then it's a really nice way for them to be able to get to what they're doing very quickly and very easily. So I think that's all from me for now. Hopefully you found some bits there that might be useful. Some of those are new features in Business Central. Some of those will exist in Dynamics NAV, regardless of release. So some bits and bobs there for hopefully for everybody.
Okay, well, as there's no questions in the question box, that's the end of today's very full session. So just a few bits to mention in closing. We have launched the support portal, and you will have previously had an invite in the email to join. It's possible you didn't realise what it was or want to use the portal, but if you do now, please let the guys know on support and we can resend the invites for you. We've added a number of things into the portal. So in the portal, you can see your current calls. You can obviously create a new call and you can update any calls that you've got, and you can see the recent history. We have a number of FAQs on there, and we will be continuing to add to these over time. And this week we're adding up to 150, in excess of 150 short training videos. So if you want any contact details, or you do have any questions that perhaps you didn't want to put online, or you're watching the replay, please email one of us, so myself or Jessie or Stuart. Obviously, you know all our email addresses. And Jessie, our marketing manager, has been sending out the feedback forms while we've been watching. And we'll also send out the link to the recordings for those people who haven't been able to watch the whole thing online live. Please fill the feedback forms in, otherwise we don't know what you want to cover in the next event, which we're scheduling for the beginning of September. I think in August a lot of people will be on holiday. And to incentivize you into filling out the feedback form, we're doing the old business card in the bowl trick. However, as we can't be in the room together, we're using a completed feedback form, and we need these back within the next 24 hours to qualify for a free bottle of champagne. So fill in your feedback forms, give us the information that you want to see. You've got 24 hours to do it, and we'll pull one out of the hat and somebody will receive a bottle of champagne. So that just leaves me to thank you all for attending or watching on catch up, and I look forward to speaking to you all and seeing you all in September. Have a lovely summer, and judging by today's weather, it looks like it's going to be a good one. See you soon.